As the year 2005 draws to a close, on CNN IBN we are joined by a very special guest today. Someone who for many is still a mystery wrapped inside an enigma. For others, she remains arguably the most powerful person in the country. Joining us now, the Congress President and the National Advisory Council Chairperson, Sonia Gandhi. Thank you very much, Mrs. Gandhi, for joining us on CNN IBN. We meet towards the end of 2005 at a rather somber time. There's been another terrorist attack, this time in Bangalore on an academic institution. Your thoughts, Mrs. Gandhi?
Yes, well, we were absolutely anguished and shocked at what has happened at the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. And of course, my heart goes out to the family of Dr. Puri and to the families of those who are battling for their life. It means, this whole thing means that there are still people around who do not want India to progress. They think that by indulging in such acts, they can thwart our progress. But we really want to give them a message that they are not going to succeed.
So India will not be thwarted by terrorism?
Absolutely not. And a message for us also that we have to be even more vigilant.
Mrs. Gandhi, it's also been a year when we've seen corruption in public life. 11 MPs being expelled on a single day. Is there a real answer that our politicians have for the people of India? Particularly the young are becoming very cynical when they see and hear of politicians taking cash on camera.
Yes, it is very painful. It was painful to watch, to witness what we all have on television and in Parliament as well. Eventually, all of them were expelled. It is a very serious problem that we are facing. Somehow certain values which used to be there in people in public life before, in politics and other spheres, somehow they seem to have dwindled or certainly diminished.
But it's true of your party as well as any other party, really?
Yes, of all parties. It is true of other establishments, other institutions. It is true in general. I think we really have to look at it seriously.
I know you sent out a strong message to your own party. Do you think they will listen to you when you say corruption in public life must end?
Well, I think they just will have to listen. And I am hopeful in the sense that we have passed this historical bill, the right to information. And through that, we hope to have much more transparency in public life.
And if you find anyone in your party who's corrupt, you will make sure that action is taken. They will be held accountable.
Most definitely. I have said so before, and I think what has happened in the recent past ought to be proof of our intent.
Yes, we saw that after the Volcker report also that you took action. So that is a clear message you're sending out.
Yes.
Mrs. Gandhi, what would you list as the main achievements of the Manmohan Singh government in 2005?
Well, there are a number of achievements, of course, but to my mind, the passing of the national or the rural guarantee in Parliament is quite an achievement to my mind. It's the achievement.
But critics say the money will never go down to the poor. Even your own husband, late husband, used to say that he always feared that corruption and the middleman would always take away money and the poor would never get it. So you have a rural employment guarantee scheme, but will the money go to those who need it?
That is the big challenge. That is the challenge which we have to meet. And I am confident that we will meet it if we all work together.
You're also heading a coalition government. You're part of a coalition government, and there's a feeling that is why questions will be asked about the stability of this government. Will this government last a full 5-year term?
Yes, I'm asked this question quite often, but yes, I am very confident.
Isn't it true that every day, one day it's the left, one day it's Mr. Lalu Yadav? You're under pressure. The Congress doesn't know how to handle coalition governments. You've never done it before.
No, I don't think we have done that badly.
You don't think?
After all, this is really the first time that we are in a coalition at the center, full-fledged coalition at the center.
You're not under pressure when you impose president's rule in Bihar, or
of course,
in Jharkhand you have a Shibu Soren.
Differences. There may be differences of opinion on a particular issue or point, but we have been able to resolve all the points which have been brought before us. And after all, isn't that part of life? You work, whether in a coalition, whether within your party, whether in your area, your sphere. You work with colleagues, with people, and constantly you have to listen to them, to adjust, to talk to them, isn't it?
So in this 1 year, you think the party has come to terms with the fact that the Congress has come to... Because there are large parts of the country, ma'am, where the Congress doesn't exist today. UP, Bihar, you had to be a very junior partner. Doesn't that worry you? West Bengal also, or a Tamil Nadu?
Well, West Bengal, it's been so for quite a long time.
But UP, your own state, doesn't it worry you?
Yes, is certainly an area of worry, of concern.
What are you going to do about it? Have you thought about it? Some said Rahul Gandhi has to go into UP.
I think about it all the time.
Do you?
I do think about areas where we are not strong.
And
talking of the party.
And when people say that Rahul should step into UP and become a leader of UP, do you think about that?
This is really for Rahul to decide and for people in the party to decide. Basically.
Have you ever thought of any role for him, or you've always left it to the party to decide?
No, it's not exactly so. It's what Rahul himself wants to do.
Right. Mrs. Gandhi, if I may ask you, the Manmohan Singh government, Dr. Singh once told me in a private conversation, he rated his own performance as 6 on 10. How would you rate him? He's a man who doesn't like to trumpet his achievements. How would you rate him?
In fact, I would say he does the opposite. He is very reticent to talk about the good work that he's been done, that he has done and he's been doing.
How many marks would you give him?
I don't like to give marks, but I think
you're fully satisfied?
Done a very good job under the circumstances. He became Prime Minister unexpectedly, and I have absolutely no complaint.
You have full faith in him?
Absolutely, absolutely.
How does this equation work between the two of you? Do you meet once a week? You're the Congress President, he's the Prime Minister. Do you all meet every week?
We do have regular meetings. There is a core group, and we meet regularly every week. And of course, if there are suddenly issues come up, then we meet.
There's no communication gap as such between you and him?
Not at all. Not at all.
Someone once told me in politics that even the decision to impose president's rule in Bihar, Dr. Singh didn't favor it, but the party pushed him towards it. Is there any truth to these?
We always discuss these issues amongst ourselves, so there is I don't think that is
You don't think that was the wrong decision?
That is not the correct.
You don't think that was a wrong decision?
I don't think that is the correct assessment.
Right. Mr. Gandhi, on a personal note, you 18 months ago decided not to become the Prime Minister of the country. I think the country was taken aback, and you said you were responding to your inner voice.
Yes. That voice is very much the same.
It's still there?
It has not. There's no change.
No regrets?
Not at all. Not at all.
No regrets that you gave up the biggest prize of all?
Not at all. Not at all.
Not a single moment in these 18 months that you said. But the whole notion of an inner voice, there were your critics who said that you were worried that they would target you with their campaign, that you were a foreign-born person, therefore you could not be Prime Minister. Did that have anything to do with it at all?
No, I don't think so at all, because after all, when we went into the elections, I was the main campaigner.
Yes.
And I think people voted for the Congress party, led by Mrs. Sonia Gandhi.
So at no stage, ma'am, is that an
I
issue
don't
anymore?
see that. I don't think it was an issue with the voters.
Is it an issue anymore that troubles you, or did it ever really trouble you, the kind of campaign? When
no,
you first
not at all. I think I've said this before.
But today, you think it's an issue completely of the past in that case?
I think it is really.
Mrs. Gandhi, but the feeling is that you still remain a very mysterious person. I started by saying you're a mystery and an enigma. You don't talk much in public gatherings in terms of give a lot of interviews. You stay away from what other politicians seem to do so often. We see them in television studios every so often. Is that the kind of person you are? Is Mrs. Gandhi a very private person? That's why you choose to be.
I have been really rather a private person. And when when my husband was Prime Minister, or even earlier on, when there was a lot of focus on us, and we had very little space to ourselves only. I think perhaps at that time I became even more not obsessed, but even more careful about maintaining some sort of privacy for our family. But basically I am a rather private person.
Ma'am, but your critics will say that Mrs. Gandhi is dictatorial, that you are the remote control behind the government. How do you respond when you hear that?
I'm not dictatorial at all. In fact, I feel at times perhaps I'm a little too democratic.
You mean the Congress party works in a democratic fashion? Are decisions taken by Mrs. Gandhi, or are they taken by a collective group?
No, decisions are taken collectively.
And you encourage that kind of collective? Because a lot of congressmen have said they don't get a chance to meet you as often as they would like, that you remain aloof from them.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Have you adjusted fully to politics? I mean, in the sense, I know it's a tough question to ask someone who's the Congress president and the National Advisory Council chairperson, but you fought like a tiger. That sentence keeps coming back to, you fought like a tigress to prevent your husband from joining politics. You entered politics really in 98. 7 years have passed. Are you fully comfortable with politics today?
I am. Now I am.
It
was a little difficult at the beginning, but I am quite comfortable now.
What is your message to young people, though, who want to enter public life but see around them corruption, nepotism, sleaze? Do you like?
Well, is that only there in politics? I don't think so. And I think it is not correct to paint everyone in politics with the same brush. There are good people in politics. There are not so good people in politics. Very much the same, I would say, in all spheres of life.
But there are those who would say that...
It's just that those in politics are more under...
But we expect higher standards, ma'am. From those who are in politics, you expect higher standards.
Anyone who is in a public office has to set an example. Not only politicians, everyone, including the media.
Why do you target? I saw in a recent speech in Mumbai, then when you were in another speech, you targeted the media. What worries you about the media today? Why are you so worried?
No, I don't target the media. I have always said that in India we are extremely lucky to have a completely free press. I think if we look at our area, our part of the world, perhaps we are maybe one of the only countries with a free media. And I always say free media is absolutely necessary for democracy to flourish. So I would never say anything against the media. I believe it is absolutely necessary for the media to be completely free.
But you made a point the other day that there was too much of trivialization, you thought, of sensationalism in the media.
That is the point that I have made a few days ago. And again, I don't mind repeating it, that I think there's much more competition now in the media establishment, what with so many channels and newspapers, publications, regional, national. And perhaps that is what compels some people within the media to be sensationalists and perhaps not to bother too much about the truth. So that is what I point out.
But the problem sometimes is the politicians aren't willing to accept the truth. The media says something and they will target the media. There are politicians in this country who do that.
Well, there may be, yes. I don't know. I hope not in the Congress party.
One of the criticisms, of course, which is made by your critics, and it stood again, is the dynasty fact.
Yes.
They said Rahul Gandhi has come into politics because he's Sonia and Rajiv's son. Mrs. Gandhi came because she's Rajiv Gandhi's wife. Indira and Rajiv. Before that, Jawaharlal Nehru. The list just goes on.
Yes. Well, that is true. This is what people normally say. It's a criticism which has been there from the beginning. But the fact is that we all have been democratically elected.
But you keep giving tickets, even in your party, to children of late politicians. Doesn't that worry you? Why not open up politics a little bit more?
To a certain extent, it does worry me a little. Let us see see if we can change that trend.
Because you did give a lot of tickets last time to young people.
Yes.
A lot of young congressmen got into parliament, but we rarely hear them. And they complain that they never get a chance. The older generation never allows them a chance to either say something in parliament or outside.
No,
Done
I don't agree. There are a number of young MPs whom have participated in debates. I myself have been in the House when some of them have spoken.
But you haven't given them any important posts in the party. The cabinet still has the same old faces. India, ma'am, 65% of India is under the age of 35.
Yes, I do, absolutely. Yes, I know that, and I agree that the youth, young people have to be given an opportunity. And they will be given an opportunity. And we are not, the Congress party is not made up only of ancient, of elders, and, there are some young people too.
So will you give
both in the party and in government.
Will you give the...
Yeah, perhaps not so young.
Will you give the Jyotiraditya Scindias, the Rahul Gandhis, the Milind Deoras a chance?
When they are ready for it, when the time will come, they will definitely...
The worry is, of course, the Congress party will take a long time to make them ready.
It's not just that, you see, is that this government is a coalition government.
Right. So
it's all very well to say, bring more people, younger people, but what the Congress party as a party has is not what it would have as when it was in power on its own, completely on its own strength. We have to share what is before us. And therefore, there are also limitations to what we can do for for members of our party.